Welcome back to Gut Talk and welcome to our beds.
Jenna, this might be our comfiest episode yet. No, it for sure is. I mean, I'm in my pajamas. And if you do girl math and you follow the cost per wear model, I would say that these free people pajamas finally paid off now that they're being featured in a podcast episode.
Thank
Because
God.
free people pajamas are I actually think about the concept of pajamas so often because I personally don't sleep with clothes on. Oprah a very long time ago said that she didn't. And I was like, if it's good enough for Oprah,
Free the vagine.
but free everything, like free the lymphatic system.
Absolutely.
And so with that, I constantly think about the concept of pajamas because I wear them as a part of my getting ready for bed routine, but I probably only wear them for about an hour a night, which is kind of insane.
That's kind of true. So we're getting the use out of them now. What I also want to say is I thought you were going down the avenue of like, why are a lot of pajamas so expensive?
Mm,
And then it had me thinking, why are bathing suits so expensive?
mm.
Because my birthday bathing suit was way more than it should have been. I'm like, there's no fabric. My dad would say that I may as well not wear anything.
Dental floss.
Dental floss, although
I
I like a
mean,
little bit more cover up than that. But I'm astounded at the prices of bathing suits these days. Like,
oh,
why are they more expensive than a pair of jeans?
and the sizing. I
It's
mean,
way less
for
material.
the big boobed girls of the world know bathing suit shopping is actual hell.
I
And
know.
and that's another topic we've been talking a lot recently is big boobs it's a constant predicament of if I want to flaunt what my mom gave me, isn't that how the phrase goes? My
Sure.
mother gave me. I really teeter on this line of looking like a night walker or like being like I want to be like classy and cute, but like with cleavage.
Yeah, I understand. I think that's a topic for a different day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You don't want to get into that?
no. Let's explain to them why we're in our beds. Well,
Mm.
it is currently 5:22 on a Tuesday night. We like still have a little bit more work to do. We still need to go do our night movement, but we thought why not like just do a cozy, comfy little session with you guys where we're just like girl talking, sharing life updates. You'll see what the episode is in a few. But what I'd like to say though, first of all, next episode I think is going to change all of our lives. I was
Yeah.
doing the research and the questions for our guests tomorrow. Let's just say I have been thinking all day, is my butt clenched?
Mine
And
just
you
was. I just unclenched it.
exactly. And she's going to talk about pelvic floor. She's going to talk about things about pelvic floor and pelvic health that you probably have never heard in your life before because when I was listening to her on a different podcast, I was like, "Oh my gosh." She's going to talk about um mouth breathing versus nasal breathing, which I know we've talked about a little bit, but this is a whole different level to it.
Where I feel
Constipation,
targeted.
exactly. Constipation, why we shouldn't be doing Kegels, like something about that. Anyway, I'm mind blown, and I just wanted to tell you guys that all day I've been wondering if my butt is clenched or not. And I thought that was necessary to share. So stay tuned for next week's episode because I just have a feeling it's going to be a really good one. And she's a complete and utter badass. She is doing surgery right before, like performing operating surgery right before she comes on the podcast. She's like, I might be a few minutes late because I am doing a surgery before that. I'm like, Queen, go off.
Yeah, no, that is actually pretty incredible. I'm very excited. You find
Yeah,
amazing guests, I will say.
they found us.
Oh,
But
even
still,
better.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyway, okay. Moving into this episode, I feel like, okay, I just turned 28. Jill turned 30 2 months ago. We're 2 years, 2 months, 2 days,
30. I turned 30, comma, 2 months
2 months
I didn't
ago.
turn
Yes.
32. Let's not do that to me.
No, we love 30s. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I know, but just like let me get used to 30 before you say
Okay, sorry.
32.
Yes. I turned 28. I had a lot of reflections this year. I feel and felt very loved for my birthday, maybe more than I ever have in my life. I'm single. I've been single for 10 months. I've gone through a
But who's
wildly,
counting?
but who's counting? I've gone through a wildly transitional time in my life. I think hitting rock bottom, something that we're going to talk about a little bit more, especially with Jill. Rock bottom or like a low point, let's just say. I don't think that was rock bottom for me, but causes you to kind of pick yourself up, slap yourself in the ass, demand better for yourself, and just go on this exploratory journey of figuring out who I am, what I want in this life, what I want in a partner, keeping the promises I make to myself, setting goals, intentions, and I've really, really done that. I would say like the first 2 or 3 months of the breakup was like a lot of grieving for me. I kind of feel like I blacked out. But then I was like, Jenna, you have so much to give in this life. By the way, guys, I almost got hit by a car today, so we almost weren't doing this podcast. Side note tangent, I literally almost got hit by a car. Woman going at least 35, 40 miles per hour, had to slam on our brakes. She ran through a red light, almost smashed Duke and me, like slam on her brakes to the level
No, I
of
literally can't hear this.
no,
That would,
like,
like
I think I'm going through a I think I'm, like literally, it was honestly traumatic for me. The last thing I'll say about it is, you know when tires screech? Like, I'm gonna go back to my walking spot tomorrow morning and see if there's tire marks because 'cause I'm sure that there was. I think she had to have been on her phone. I don't know what it was. She ran a red light so far, like, we had walking sign anyway, so I'm counting my blessings today. I'm feeling very grateful, but I'm also in this place that I am the happiest and healthiest that I have ever been, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about the things that we're doing, but I think on the other hand, Jill has a little bit of some things to share because Jill, why don't you just get into it?
well, I think if you are at a place in your life that you're not happy with or that you just feel like you could improve your life, like this episode is for you. Cause I think
Yeah.
as you said, I just turned 30 and I've never been someone who cared about turning 30. And I always promised myself that I would live my 20s for me. Like obviously, you guys know, our parents have been married for over 40 years. Our grand
40.
30?
Yeah. 30, I think they're at 35.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 35. Our grandparents have been married for over 60 years. Are you sure about that? Oh, yeah, I guess that math does
They were
math.
married in 1991.
34 years?
Mhm.
Sorry, mom. I know she'll listen to this. Our parents have been married for 30 plus years. Our grandparents have been married for 60 plus years. Like we come from a very solid family background, but I promised myself that my 20s I would live for me. And I really did. Like I had some relationships and quite frankly, they were not very good. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that in the weirdest way, I'm like a people pleaser when it comes to relationships, even though I'm really not in any other part of my life, which is like
No.
why confidence, like childhood, I don't know, like Diane, my therapist, and I discuss that frequently. But I learned a ton about myself. I tried different jobs. We lived in different states. Like we did it all, right? And I always knew that like when I turned 30, like then I would really turn the page and start a new chapter of my life and slow down, settle down. Like my dream has always been to be a mom. I just always knew that I wasn't ready for that. Like I don't know if this is relatable to anyone, but I've been so many different people in my 20s, and none of those people would have been the mother or the wife that I want to be. Like, I just wasn't ready. Like, I had so much growing to do on my own
Yeah.
and finding out who I am. And
Same.
all of that is, yeah. And like, I think that's relatable. Like, I see so many of my closest friends who have had kids for years or having kids right now. And part of me, especially being 30, like, I envy them because
Yeah.
like, I want that so badly for myself, and it's, like, hard because, like, you have to tell yourself, like, that's coming, but it's also so scary because we're women and I'm 30 but for whatever reason, like, that really never affected me because I felt like I was always really, like, happy with what I was doing. And then last May, I quit my job because it was extremely toxic. And I've never really talked about it, but I just want to give you a few examples because I feel like toxicity in the workplace is like a very common concept for people. No, when I say toxic, I mean like one day on a Monday morning, I went to go sit at my office desk. Mind you, we didn't have HR and it was a really small company. And I sat on a bottle of lube and let's just clear it up, it was not mine. I found my CEO in
Thank you for
Mexico.
clarifying.
Yeah. I found my CEO in Mexico with bottle service girls and one of our investors spending our company money.
When he was missing, like
Yeah.
MIA.
Right. I have had my CEO scream at me point blank for nothing that had to do with work and call me really mean things, only to apologize 4 days later to say, "But the way you brought it up," when I say brought it up, when I brought up that we were actually spending hundreds of thousands of dollars wrong, like, poorly, and I was creating a cost savings plan, he said, "I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you, but the way you brought it up was annoying." And like apology 101, you can't put a "but" at the end of an apology.
Jill tells me that sometimes.
I digress. It was, of all the life that I have lived, and I have played competitive sports, I've been in relationships that definitely were not pro Jill. It was the most toxic environment I've ever been in my life. And actually, one night, Jenna came to me crying when I was in my bed in my room, and she said, "You are not Jill. I don't know who you are. You are super reactive. You are not your goofy self. Like, you are not you." And bless you for saying that, because I think that half the time I probably would have just blown up on you because I was on such edge, but I received it really well, I think. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So I quit and I was a consultant for 6 months and basically like took on a ton of things. I was training softball players 24/7. I was doing gut talk and I was consulting and I was working around the clock and I was not even making what I used to make. So it was like very hard for me to keep up with the life I was living. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm turning 30 and like, this isn't great, but I wasn't like doing anything about it. And I was confident in my body, but like not that much, like very iffy. But I was dating this guy and I was like all in on that. And then in November, I got told that my contract was ending in December. So I was no longer going to be a consultant. And I thought I was doing a really good job. So that was like a gut punch. And then I don't know if anyone's on the hunt for a job, but like it's really impossible right now. It's really, really, really hard. And like that's coming from someone like I went to UNC, which is a great school. I have my master's from Duke. Like I have a great resume and I wasn't even getting a glimpse from companies. I was getting the reject button like meh, meh, meh. So then I'm unemployed. I am not necessarily happy with who I am. And to make matters worse, the week of Valentine's Day, I was broken up with. And now I am single and I am unemployed and I am not happy with who I am. And I'm like, and I'm 30. I hit 30. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, this is probably the least happy I've ever been in my life. And when you like, I want everyone
And
to
you're just about to
imagine,
run a half marathon.
mm, yeah.
That's the
And you know,
detail we left out in her half marathon story last week or
well,
2 weeks ago.
yes. But like what I'll say about that is I feel like the half marathon was day one of
Yeah.
picking myself up off the ground.
Mhm.
I don't want to get into my breakup. All I will say for the point of like you guys understanding where I'm coming from is I obviously didn't see it coming that day. I've had to reflect a ton. When we did that episode a few weeks ago, where it was like, uh, kind of like the toolkit to supporting yourself, that's kind of where I was coming from. Like, thank God, one thing I have done is I know how to pick myself up, but I'm sick and tired of being knocked down. And what I've realized is I have to start taking control and getting in the driver's seat instead of the passenger seat of a lot of the things that I want in my life. And if I want them, then I'm going to go full blaze ahead for them instead of like hoping and praying they happen. And again, like I personally don't want to share, and you never did, like the details of my relationship, but I feel like I look back and there's a lot that Jill, who I know Jill to be, would have handled things differently. And why I didn't, I don't know. Like
Mhm.
I have no idea, but nothing I can do about that now. I would say that I'm still, our mom said something really cool. She was like, you can be two things at once. You can be really sad and still be enjoying your life or having good times. Like two things can very much exist. And I feel like right now, I feel like I am both grieving and working through and processing things that can make me really upset and simultaneously go out and laugh with you and go on walks and have good days. Like it's the weirdest thing to be able to feel two really strong emotions at one time, but I feel like that's where I am. And so I think when I got broken up with, I was supposed to then run the half marathon a few days later. And my first instinct, which I loved, was like, I'm fucking running that marathon, that half marathon. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for myself. I'm this is what's going to catapult me into the next phase of my life. And granted, like it was not my idea to run the half marathon. I don't know if I would have ever done it, but I'm really, really glad I did.
If it
Highly
wasn't for your
recommend.
ex,
Yeah, it was his
to
idea.
clarify, yeah.
It was his idea. But now I definitely will run another one. I had a blast. The runner's high was like the greatest thing that could have happened a few days after a breakup for me. But I took that time and I was like, okay, no more. Like, no more like letting life happen to me, which I feel like has been the case. Like, I'm going to find a kick ass job, which I now have. I am going to get in the best shape of my life. Like, I don't know why. I feel like you and I both, like, Jenna and I have had some fluffy times in our
I
20s.
know. I feel like that's so relatable. Like, I feel like so many of you guys listening to this, social media puts it out there. We all know this. You follow so many girls that make it look like everything is so okay and all buttoned up. And the truth of the matter is, I feel like you just went through your 20s. I'm on the end of my 20s. This is like the learning, the making mistakes, the getting broken up with, the dating the wrong guy, the time to just learn and live. And I feel like you and I are the epitome or the pinnacle of two girls who have just like really lived out our 20s in so many different ways. There's
I
so many
was
versions of ourselves. There's
yeah.
so many like ups and downs and twists and turns. I mean, God, we've moved 5 times in 4 years in the city.
I've never re-signed a lease and I'm
We're
30.
literally Jill, this year is hopefully going to be Jill's first time ever re-signing a lease. I say hopefully because who knows what's going to
You
happen
never
to this
know.
apartment, but no, it is going to be. We're excited. But I just feel like us two, one of our biggest things is like what we hope to be and not to force it because it comes very naturally to us is relatable. And I just think a lot of you guys can see yourselves in ours. Maybe you're a mom of three and you're 35 years old. Go you, I love you. Or maybe you're 25 and you're like, what the F is happening in my life? And right now, Jill's like, what the F is happening in my life? But I'm going to like pick myself up and I'm going to make myself better. And I just had that for the past 10 to 11 months where I'm like, this is the time that I truly put myself first and see what I'm capable of and see like where I can find my happiness again. And it's interesting because obviously our breakups happening 10 months apart has been nice because one, like I've been able to help you and give you insight as to how you can feel better and like allow you to mourn, allow you to be upset, but also like, oh no, like these feelings are so normal and natural for where you're at right now. But also
Mhm.
like I know it can get so much better for you.
Yeah. And I think too, thank God I had you and Nada and mom and like just so many people in my corner. I feel like my 20s were so messy
Yeah.
and not in a bad way. Like I've accomplished a lot.
Right.
Made so
Good
many
times too,
incredible,
of
I've
course.
made so many incredible memories. Like I've done nothing that's so detrimental that I can't move forward.
Right.
But, like, it has not been glamorous whatsoever, and I feel like I have made so many mistakes that, like, my wisdom's gotta be really adding up here because
I kind of feel that too.
I was lift so we'll get into this, but, like, I was lifting at 6 a.m. this morning, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, "I better have at least one daughter," because the amount of things I need to share with her as she experiences her life. Like, I would love a few sons, but like, I need a daughter. I need it because if I've gone through the breakups and the hiccups and the body image stuff that I've gone through to have all boys, they're gonna need some girlfriends and I'm gonna need to help them.
Right.
Like, I
You
feel
can
like
do that if I have girls too.
right, we do have right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Jen and I have decided that we can't not ever live in the same city, so that
Mhm.
will be really interesting. Like, ideally, we could, like, I don't know, maybe we could, like, marry business partners or, like, best friends or something. Like, we don't wanna be too close for comfort,
Yeah,
but, like,
not brothers, but
no, no, that would be I never said that, that would be bizarre. That would be I'm pretty that could be illegal. If it's not,
Right.
it maybe it should be. Sisters marrying brothers is weird. That we're not like that.
Or all of our kids would look the same. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
But, I
There is that thing out there though. Just saying. It's not
I
that weird.
have this, like, fire under my ass. Like, when you're fired, broken up with, and turned 30, I think any woman, depending on where no matter where you are in life, would know that that is really not an ideal place to be in.
Yeah.
And so here we are, right? It's you either help yourself or you don't, right? And so I feel like I have done a lot of things, but I look back, Jen, and I'm like, in our 20s, we were so focused on health, but we didn't stay consistent. And I think that's one thing that we've done now. I mean, like, I look at you and me in photos. I was trying to post pictures of you and me for your birthday. And I was like, either you don't look like you anymore or I don't look like me anymore. Like, we look so different. And I'm just really proud of the way we've been living in 2025
Yeah.
so far because I feel like this is going to be such a new chapter. But I will say to any girl out there who has been fired or who's worried about turning a certain age or who has been broken up with or who, like, let's just throw it all out there. Like, I have a lot of insecurity about the fact that all of my friends are now in the next chapter of life and I'm still here restarting, and I also don't have a lot of friends in Austin because that's just not my personality. Like, always have, like, a chunk of friends from different phases of life, so, like, I've accumulated quite a few, but we don't have 20 girlfriends in Austin. We're not even
Yeah.
close, and
Yeah.
so now that I'm single on the weekends, like, I don't wanna go out to bars, and quite frankly, I don't have that many people to go out to bars with, and there's all of this, like, insecurity and, like, who am I and what am I doing? And so much so that it's forced me to, like, look back and be like, "No, who are you, Jill?
Right.
You are someone who loves to be physically active. You are someone who loves sports. You need to get into golf more and pickleball and running and weightlifting. You need to be outside because the sun makes you happy and that's why we freaking moved to Texas. Like, you love having deep conversation and reading and, like, you need to read by the pool and stop letting social media, like, tell me what I should be doing because we're being vulnerable and messy right now, but, like, the majority of people on social media aren't being. And so I feel like
Mhm.
it's, like, required me to be like, "Okay, don't be the girl that then goes out to the bar and flirts with boys to get validation for stuff that, like, I just need to do for myself." Like, I
Yeah.
need to make myself happy right now, and I want to date again. You've taken off quite a bit of time from dating, and we're in different places. Like,
Yeah.
I think you very much want to be alone for the most part, and I very much don't. I was single the majority of my 20s and I want to be in a relationship. And I think, like, being vulnerable and saying that is scary because I'm like, "Oh, I'm the loser who, like, I want a relationship so bad."
Right.
It's like, "No, like, I've worked so much on myself
Yeah.
and I feel like I have a lot to bring to the table." And, like, I really enjoyed a lot of my relationship and I don't want to be single, but I want to be in a relationship because I want a partnership, I want a family, I want to build a future with someone. I can't try to date for validation or for attention. And so I'm, like, being very aware of, like,
Yeah.
how that feels and, like, I'm obviously not ready yet, but when the time comes, like, that's something that because you know what, Jenna? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, There's a J. Cole song lyric there
Yeah.
somewhere. But,
Fool
like,
me once first, shame on you. Fool me twice, can put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, F the peace sign. Load the chopper, let it rain on you.
I think that's
I know you
exactly what
guys needed to hear that.
and I think that's exactly what J. Cole envisioned when he
Yes.
hoped that other people would sing his song
Amen, sister.
in a girl's PJ chat
Yeah.
on
Well,
Gut Talk.
okay. No, so
But my point is
yeah.
just that this all of I sat in the passenger seat of my own life for a little while, and I'm back in the driver's seat, and I'm taking control of my own life, and I'm really making sure that, like, the things that I felt what's that word when you're, like, feel things in the back? Like, um
Hindsight?
no, not hindsight, like, in the distance?
I don't
Like, you can
know.
feel subliminal thoughts?
Okay.
Like, no more. Like, anything that I, like, kind of underlyingly feel or think, whether it's my job, my relationship, my life, whatever, no, like, we're bringing it to the surface, and, like,
Yeah.
we're in, like, attack mode.
Right. Well, I was interesting because I just got coffee with actually a guy that I met through my ex, and I hadn't
Just
seen him
as
in a real
friends, you weren't
just as
on a date.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just catching up, and I had not seen him in a really long time, and, like, obviously he knew my ex, so and by the way, like, my ex and I are very cordial, like, we don't really talk anymore, he's moved and whatnot, but, he I could almost tell him, he this is not weird, by the way, like, that I'm, like, seeing someone that I met through him, just so you
Mm,
guys know. But I was just saying how, like, this year has been so transformational for me and, like, how much happier I am, like, having gone through that and, like, getting on the other end, and I just think, like, what you were saying, what I've been through, like we were kinda saying, is, like, going through hard times and not hitting rock bottom, but, like, just being down in the dumps really forces you to take a good look at yourself and
mhm,
say, like, "This is what I want from my life." And, again, like, I've done this for the past 8 months, 8 to 10 months. This is your time to be like you were saying, like, "These are the things that I want in this life. I wanna be consistent. I wanna feel good. I wanna feel good and strong in my body." And what an amazing place to be in, you know? And I know you don't have kids. I know you're 30 and you're not married or in a relationship, but F the timelines. Besides our biological timeline, women are out here having oh my gosh, did you guys see the TikTok? I reposted it on TikTok of the woman who had her daughter at age 42 and how they are like literally thriving. The daughter's in her 20s. I made Jill like look at it. Guys, like, come on. We were all told these time and like, yes, we want to be like younger moms or whatnot.
I honestly don't even care about
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
If a genie could come down and be like, "Don't worry, like, at some point, your dream of having 3 kids will come true," like, then I'd be
It
like,
doesn't
"Great."
even need to be a genie. Like, just know that that's going to happen in your life.
Right, yeah, I think that's where I
I like
struggle a
have
little
that
bit.
mindset so much. I think Jill was like, I've kind of hopefully inspired you in certain ways of being like, no good things are happening to you. No, the
Mhm,
things that you're going to want to happen are happening to you because
mhm,
that is the way that I've lived my life. And I just always have this sense and this feeling that things are always working out for me, even if things go awry, even if I almost get hit by a car. Like,
rejection is redirection.
exactly.
I've
And
only seen that on
so,
my TikTok, like, 500 times. I'm on breakup TikTok, and it's helpful, but, like, it's getting a little depressing, I think.
and that is like truly all to say that I genuinely believe that we need to go through the hard times to find the happiness and find even more mundane times even better. Like hard times like you're going through are giving you perspective and they're giving you this level of a little bit of a slap in the ass and a kick in the butt so that you can go and like become an even better version of yourself.
I think every time I've had something unfortunate, upsetting, sad happen to me, I've initially allowed myself to feel all the feelings, and then I always use whatever it is to catapult me forward. So, like, I got have I ever said publicly that I got kicked off the softball team at UNC?
I
I
don't
think I've
know.
mentioned it.
Yeah.
If
I
I
mean,
haven't,
all the girlies are going to be like, you two need to start podcasting in your bed more often. This is the tea spilling episode. Holy shit.
When I got kicked off at UNC, it was the worst thing that had ever happened to me because I was playing softball since I was 12, and my dream I committed to UNC when I was 14. And so then 7 years later, I got kicked off. Like, UNC was my identity, and it brought me to the lowest points in my life, and then I ended up getting my master's from Duke, and some of my very best friends in the entire world for the rest of my life went and played softball at Duke University. And if I didn't get kicked off the softball team at UNC, I would have never had Duke. And and
Exactly.
and my whole life is so different for an incredible way, and it would have never ever happened if I'd only gone to UNC.
Yeah.
And so, my favorite quote is it's not about the hand we're dealt, it's how you play your cards. And I've always tried to live my life that way. And so whenever I'm presented with a really horrible situation, I think to myself, okay, this is the card set that I have been dealt. How do I play this to my advantage? So, okay, you got broken up with, you got blindsided, you got so upset, you're really sad. Okay, so what do? We get in the best shape of our lives. We say yes to every fun opportunity. We reinvent ourselves. Like you cannot let the bad things that happen to you define who you are. It just becomes a way for you to play a new card in your story. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to go into a TED talk here, but like I genuinely believe that one of my superpowers in my lifetime has been when something really bad happens. Like my job that I have, I know I'm only in week 2, but like when I tell you the people are so wonderful, the work that I'm being tasked with is so up my alley. And had I not been fired in November, this would have never happened.
Mhm.
So it's like I am this is a perspective. You could say, "Jill, like you're just looking at it from this way and that's not the reality." But sure, that's fine. It's the only way I want to look at it.
Yeah.
Because like whatever happens to you, you have two ways to respond. You can feel bad for yourself and you can sulk and you can mourn, and obviously some really way worse things happen to people than what we're dealing with. So I don't want to
Sure.
come off as negative, but like if he breaks up with you, if you lose your job, if your friend doesn't want to be friends with you anymore, like figure out what you need to do, find the work that you need to do with yourself, and then keep it moving. Like Shay Mitchell on Call Her Daddy had this quote, and it was like, if he doesn't want to be with me, then fine. I'll be okay. I'm going to keep it moving. And like the way I can hear her, no one knows, Shay Mitchell is my literal idol in life. I love her fashion. I love her attitude. I love Pretty Little Liars. Like, I love her.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, I just like, I love, like, that is the attitude I'm gonna choose to embody, because if not, like, in these pajamas, in this bed, I'm just gonna curl up and cry, and, like, I'm 30. I don't have time for that.
No. And
And like,
also
some tears come, but, like,
right, of course. And adding on to that, like, I think that there's this level of, like you're saying, like, shit's gonna happen. You have to figure out the way to pick yourself up. And again, like, just relating, I think this conversation is very much like what our own experiences have been and how we're looking at them through our lens. But I remember so vividly a year ago, before like my breakup happened, I was crying to my therapist about how unhappy I was. And what is so crazy now is she like let me go. Like she's like, come back whenever you want, but you don't need me right now. Although sometimes, I mean, there's certain things like I do believe in consistent therapy, but that's just part of the story. And I'm just like, I am so happy right now. And I think because ultimately, Jill and I are obviously on two different wavelengths right now, but we're getting to the same place. Jill's getting to this place. I didn't know if I was like truly going to be happy again. Like, that's the level of unhappiness I was. I was
mm,
not in a good place for a very long time, and not like horrible again, like able to function okay, but there were just aspects of my life that I just was not happy with, and it was causing a little bit of a rain cloud over me.
mhm.
I love
No, I
how I
mean,
say that besides saying the word I was depressed.
yeah, I mean, like, I even said to you, like, it was giving, like, Eeyore vibes a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not Jenna. Like, Jenny girl at her core is a very happy, goofy, happy-go-lucky person.
Mhm.
And what I'm saying by that is sometimes, like we're saying, you have to be low to get high and to find yourself again. And what I will tell you is that you will not regret putting in the time and the effort and pouring everything back into yourself. I have been the most consistent in the gym. My body feels so wildly strong right now. I feel the fittest that I have in so long. I'm the happiest that I've been in so long. I'm so single, guys, that you wouldn't even like there's no man making me happy right now.
You basically are about to join a convent.
Exactly. Love them. Love that.
We went to Catholic school, so that
Yeah,
just
that's just not my
right.
thing, but I respect it. And this is all because I literally found myself again. I found the things I loved. I kept the promises that I made to myself. I have,
But
if anything, yeah,
how did you do that? Like, you journaled?
I journaled. I have listened to a lot of amazing podcasts.
I
I
feel like we
just
should create a list of the
I know,
podcasts you've
we need
listened
to.
to.
I just downloaded the activations app again. I really hope one day we can get Mimi Bouchard on the podcast. Let's manifest it right now. I've listened to a lot of her stuff, how that you are 100% responsible for your life and your future. And whether you believe in the universe or God or any, higher power, that they're guiding you into your best place. And I like, hopefully, I'm not sounding like too woo woo right now, but like at the end of the day, I want to feel my best. And I know that comes from doing the things that make me happy, like Jill was saying. Like I said, I got back in the gym. I've walked more than I've ever, you go look at my heart app right now. I have no steps under 10,000. I've been outside so much. Mind you that the weather in Austin is always, besides a couple weeks, like really good. And I just like, I don't, I can pinpoint a lot of different things. Again, in my 28th birthday post, I did a whole lot of things. I'm so good with my nutrition. I allow myself to be flexible. I think that's been really key. But
Mhm.
ultimately, I feel so good in my body and in my mind. I also have on my nightstand the book, The Pivot Year. If you are looking for a book that just causes you to stop and reflect every night before bed, I pull up an excerpt every single day. I'm showing it on YouTube right now. 365 Days to Become the Person You Truly Want to Be. It all
And who is it
starts,
by?
um, Brianna Wiest. I think she's the same person who writes The Mountain Is You
No,
or
and
100 Essays to Change Your Life.
This Is How You Heal, which
Oh,
is what
This Is
I've
How
been
You
reading
Heal.
every night
Yeah,
before bed. Yeah. I mean, she would be incredible on the
I know.
podcast.
We'll get it. Girls, we're like making this podcast so much better. We have our podcast editor, Harrison, who's going to make it so amazing. We're getting it on YouTube. Like, we are going to grow to get you guys the best guests that we can possibly get you. And again, like, I just have this confidence saying that because I've built this within myself. Take your power back. I hope we're not sounding too preachy, but I just like, these are the things that have ultimately changed my life to get me to in a place where like people look at me and they're like, you're glowing. I've never gotten so many you're glowing texts, messages, and DMs in my entire life.
No, it's true. And you really are. I mean, I hope you're like, honestly, you've been like a huge inspiration for me. Like, I feel like
Yay.
normally, because I'm the older sister, I feel like you're kind of like always like following in my footsteps a little bit. And I feel
Yeah.
like I right now am really following in yours. And I can say like, and the thing too is like, obviously the books you have to pay for unless like Kindle, I think a lot of them are Kindle Unlimited or whatever library you can find free versions, but
Libby, my favorite app.
Libby.
My
But
favorite
I
app
think
as a non reader. I like pretend I'm a reader. Okay, keep going.
the things we're telling you to do, getting in the gym or lifting weights of some sort, walking, journaling, eating well, like they're relatively inexpensive. I think sometimes it's really hard when you see influencers who are they're going to like I love Remy Bader. She's one of my favorite content creators. Like I can't just go to a resort for four
Right.
days that is thousands of dollars. Like that's not in my budget currently.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot of things like I can't just go spend a day at the spa. I have to work. Like, and so I just feel like the things that we are saying, like they've actually worked for us, not once, but twice. Like I think you could say, oh, like it was a fluke. Jenna did these things and it worked for her. But it's like I'm doing the same things and like I'm seeing the results.
Yes. And I love that you said that. I hope we don't sound too cliche when we say that, but like every single day I've woken up and I've honestly just chosen myself.
Mm.
And again, that sounds so cheesy, but like I
I'm
have
not there
just,
yet.
no, and that's okay. I have just sat here and I've been like, for so many months now, I am just constantly being consistent. And I'm not doing anything insane, guys. I was just like, saw this crazy YouTube video by this like very famous, popular YouTuber slash business owner in the fitness space, just giving these like crazy advice about like how to lose weight and all these gnarly tips of like, don't add extra cheese because that has more calories. And I'm like, I'm so glad I'm so out of that mindset. I'm so
Mhm.
glad I have found what works for me and this like happy medium because I will tell you right now, like life is partly meant to be lived and you can do it in a healthy way that's also sustainable. And let me know if you guys want to hear like my tips for not like weight loss, but like how to get healthier and even better. I feel like every day we're posting things trying to encourage that, but I think that there's certain tips that I have working with clients and just the knowledge that I've gained through almost being triple certified in functional health that I think I could really help you guys with. So just mental note that that could be an episode. But Julie girl,
Okay, so I'm in my Pinterest era, and there's a few things that really stuck out to me. And there was this like one thing about like being in your 30s, and Jenna doesn't want me to read it all out loud because it's like 15 lines long. But the whole point is like you no longer feel the need to like want to be cool. And
mhm.
like you are just so comfortable saying no to the things you don't want to do. And is it cheesy? You're making fun of my Pinterest era. I have all these pins. What?
I'm not making fun of your Pinterest era. I just like know what phase of like the relationship breakup you're in. And it's like this phase of like, I'm a badass, go me. Like, I'm
Oh, Jenna,
sorry, guys. I can't contain myself right now.
one thing that I'm not doing well right now is sleeping. Like,
Yeah.
did I tell him about what I told you yesterday? You
Yes.
guys, I can normally fall asleep so easily. Like,
Yeah.
my head hits the pillow and off to snooze land I go, and I don't really have dreams. I have been having the most gnarly dreams recently, and I cannot fall asleep at night. And I am a 6 a.m. in the gym girly. So, like, I have to fall asleep. And the other night, I was so mad because I was just ruminating and I couldn't stop thinking. And I got so mad at my ex for being in this position that I punched my pillow 3 times. I
I
punched it
can't.
3 times. I literally was like punching it because I was
Whatever it
just
takes, sweetie.
well, I thought that that would make me feel better, and it didn't. Then I just felt like a
I was
lunatic
gonna
for
say,
punching
and then
my
it
pillow in
riled
bed.
you up and your heart started beating faster.
And then
Oh
my
my
and
God.
then my aura ring said, "Is everything okay?"
I'm crying. Well,
But you
okay.
know what? I'm very grateful that we have each other. And I think that there's a lot of power in being vulnerable with each other, but also in the pod. And I just know, like, when I first started my breakup journey, and honestly, even before that, when I was like down in the dumps about being fired and being unemployed, turning 30, all of the things, I was searching for podcasts of like what to do when your life isn't going the way you want it to. Like Peyton Sardin had some good ones because she had gone through like a really bad breakup that I knew of. But like, I was like, hello, who else out there is miserable and can you help me? And so hopefully this finds the right
Yeah.
audience because
Yeah.
if you aren't happy where you're at in life right now, or if life has just punched you a few times and you're knocked down a little bit, hopefully, this
Yeah.
was helpful.
That could be the podcast title name. What to do when you're not, what did you say? When you're not where you
Know
want to
to
be?
do what to do when life knocks you on your ass.
Exactly. Well,
Mhm.
like Jill said, we just truly wanted this to be like a chatty girl talk episode where literally, as I said, in our PJs at 6 p.m. And it's time to go do some nightly movement now, isn't it, Jilly girl? With our
Can I just
sweet,
say
sweet boy Dookie. Yeah?
can I just say one thing since we've been like manifesting and saying some things out loud that we really want?
Yeah.
I am obsessed with Just Ingredients protein. I'm obsessed with their electrolytes. I'm obsessed with everything that they have. And I want them to sponsor us or partner with us so badly. And at some point in time, Just Ingredients, if they even do podcast ads, they will be a podcast ad for us
Woo!
because
I
I
love that. They
I am
just
so
followed us, or I just got a
did they?
discount code for us.
What?
I mean, that's a start, yeah. I
You
mean,
didn't tell me that.
okay, I just signed it today or whatever.
Wait, that's incredible.
I know, that's one
No,
one step
like
closer.
you guys, we have gallons, pounds of protein in our cupboard,
And
our
Jill loves
pantry.
just ingredients.
I
I'm still
purchased
a
it.
Pro Mix girly, but I could be convinced.
No, I love Just Ingredients.
Good. Okay, well, we're putting that out there. Again, as always, thank you guys for listening. We love you so much. If you love this podcast, please, please, please rate it 5 stars. Like, it helps us more than you know, even if it's just a quick, like, hi, I don't know, just a quick, like, message. We would appreciate it truly so much, as it helps us in our journey to growing the podcast, sharing our message, helping everyone get a little bit healthier. So with that being said, we will see you guys next week with the butt clenching episode, pelvic floor health, with Dr. Nicole Fleischman. I hope I'm saying that right. We'll clarify if not. And we'll see you guys next week. All right. Love ya.